Yasodanandana Vrajachana Ranjana Yasodanandana Vrajachana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanacharya Yamunatira Vanacharya Jaya Radha Madhava Kundya Vihare Kavichanda Vallabha Girivaradhare Kavichanda Vallabha Girivaradhare Yasodanandana Vrajachana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanacharya Yamunatira Vanacharya Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Brahmachari Sarada Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Sai Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Skansam Sabhakacharya Prabhupada Ki Vrinda Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Acharya Sri Thakur Ki Jai Prem Jaga Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudha Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Girivaran Ki Jai Vrindavandam Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navitam Ki Jai Gangamai Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktanji Ki Jai Buddha Premanandi. All glories to the Summit devotees, all glories to the Summit devotees, all glories to the Summit devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Gauranga, all glories to Shri Prabhupada. So, we listen English today. So, we're reading like we've always been reading before class, before Bhagavatam class, from Transcendental Diary Travel for His Divine Grace, says Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, August 1976 to October 1976, by Hari Saudi Prabhu. So Srila Prabhupada is still in Vrindavan. I told Bhagaji today about my decision to not do any special vrata for Kartik. He was surprised and tried to cajole me into continuing, stressing that one must observe some special vrata in order to get the benefit of Kartik. The vrata was useless if it meant it couldn't do my service to Srila Prabhupada. He considered that it was a higher principle and relented. Bhagaji also frequently attends marginal meetings and Srila Prabhupada's afternoon darshan. This afternoon at about 4 p.m., he brought some news about Nitai. He told Srila Prabhupada that he has been seen in Vrindavan with Yogananda Das. Bhagaji was good friends with Nitai, and out of sentiment he pleaded with Srila Prabhupada to allow him to bring Nitai to see him. He thought that if Srila Prabhupada could personally talk to him, he could straighten him out. Prabhupada dismissed his request without prolonged discussion on the matter. No, unless he is prepared to come of his own accord, then what will be the use? Unless a man is submissive, then it is useless to speak with him. This was, as far as I heard, this was the only devotee that Prabhupada threw out of ISKCON. He threw him out. Yeah, because he had started to study Sanskrit in Vrindavan with somebody who was not very favorable, Srila Prabhupada. So he started correcting Prabhupada, or how you say, criticizing Prabhupada's purports. And so Prabhupada just got him out. And as far as we can hear from this purport, or from this description of Hari Saudi, he didn't actually want to see him, and he gives a very nice, very profound explanation. No, unless he's prepared to come of his own accord, then what will be the use? Unless a man is submissive, then it is useless to speak to him. Submissive means that he would come and ask for, Entschuldigung, what is it in English?
Forgiveness.
Huh?
Forgiveness.
Yeah, forgiveness, and ask for forgiveness for his offenses. So, then we continue. October 6, 1976. In his Bhagavatam class, Prabhupada said that a Vaishnava is always sympathetic. Draupadi, who had lost 5 sons, was concerned that Ashwatthama's mother not have the same distress inflicted upon her. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj felt compassion for his father, even though he had tried to kill him in so many ways. Now this is the exemplary attitude of Prahlad Maharaj. In this case, sometimes Prabhupada mentioned Jesus Christ also. When they crucified him, he was praying. He was saying, "Oh, Father, please forgive them, because they don't know what they're doing." The lesson, Prabhupada said, is that a Vaishnava can tolerate any inconvenience and cannot be unhappy in any circumstance. To demonstrate this, he told 2 stories, providing a striking contrast. One big politician in Calcutta, C.R. Das, he died in 1925. 50 years ago, he was earning 50,000 per month. 50,000 means 50 lakhs nowadays. He was so rich man. But on the Congress resolution that the prominent members of the Congress, they should not cooperate. What? But on the Congress resolution that the prominent members of the Congress, they should not cooperate with the government. One of the items of non-cooperation was they should not practice in the British court because there is no justice. That was Gandhi's order, that in the British court there is no justice. So why should you go there? Don't go. So this C.R. Das was one of the prominent members. He gave up, so he had no income. The Congress was given him 500 rupees pocket expenses because he was such a rich man. What is 500 rupees for him? He was earning 50,000 rupees and spending, so he could not bear the inconvenience. He died within a year. He was a rich man. He could not provide. and he was very charitable disposed. If somebody would come to him, he would say, I have lost my all income. Now I have got this 500 rupees, you can take it. So anyway, he could not tolerate. But a devotee, just like Rupa Goswami, he also did the same thing. What is that? He was a minister in charge of Nawab Hussain Shah's government. But he decided, what is this nonsense ministership? Let me join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, preach his Krishna consciousness. So he did. Therefore, about him it is said, Tyaktva Turnam Ashesha Mandala Patishenim. He was associated with big men, Mandalapati. He was minister, but he gave up. What is this nonsense? It has no value. So if we compare with C.R. Das, he also gave up his income, but he died. But what happened to Rupa Goswami? Naturally, such a rich man, minister, he gave up his position. He should have also died because no income? No, he did not die. That is a difference. Hare Krishna. So, just like, this, when you become a devotee, you become renounced. So he was a very important minister in the government, the Mohammedan governor or whatever. And so he was very much respected in society. Not by the Brahmins, not by the Hindus. They actually rejected him because he also changed his name to a Muslim name. But when he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in due course of his purification, he renounced everything. And he actually divided what he had. Divided. He gave what was that? Half of it he gave to the devotees, wasn't it? I don't remember now. Half to the devotees. Then a quarter he kept for emergency, and another quarter he gave to the family. So actually, sometimes Prabhupada mentioned that we should also follow, the Grihastha should also follow this principle. But this is very difficult nowadays, according to them. No. So, Hare Krishna. Any questions regarding what we read? Comment?
Question. What was it in the early days in Prabhupada's time and your times? How was the Kartik observed?
We didn't know nothing about Kartik in the beginning. These are all things that were introduced later on. Yeah. We read, of course, we read Prabhupada's books, speaks about that. Also the calendar, Vaishnava calendar says that now no yogurt or something, no spinach, nothing green like that. But I don't remember anybody following this. Yeah. Also, another consideration was that, like India is in a certain climatic position. And not all over the world they have the same climatic condition at that time. Anyway, so I never follow. Sorry. And I don't know if Prabhupada actually followed. I never heard Prabhupada following it. Huh?
There was this story of Bhakti Maharaj when he was cooking for Prabhupada.
Yeah.
And he had to buy two different spinaches, pumpkin, whatever, bitter melon, and then he went to Prabhupada and said, "It's spinach fast." And then Prabhupada said to Bhakti Maharaj, "Is everybody observing?
Sorry?
Is everybody observing Chaturmas?" So he was not observing Chaturmas. He wanted to have the spinach. So this is what I know from this video from Bhakti Maharaj.
Yeah, there's some actually very strict rules, like for sannyasis. No, during Kartik, it's a rainy season. It's a, what is it called? Monsoon. Yeah. I was just in monsoon in India. Yeah. It's actually raining day and night. Anyway, so the sannyas is supposed to remain in one place and practice severe austerities. And one of the austerities is they put your food or the khichdi, they put it on the floor, you know, and you have to cross your how you say, your arms in the back and go down and get the khichdi. But you can only as much as you get one time. You cannot go back again. Listen. So if you want to follow Kartik, then try this. No, of course. Actually, it's more important to take prasad and chant Hare Krishna than any other thing. No? That's what Prabhupada presented to us in the very beginning. Chanting was the most important, and taking prasad. Prabhupada insisted so much that devotees had good prasad, tasty prasad. Yeah. And also what we heard now yesterday, no? Prasad is also a preaching tool. Yeah. Like many of us became devotees by prasad. And I mentioned yesterday, you have one here. You know, I used to go to the temple. I went on Sunday, the first time. Somebody took me to the temple on Sunday. And we came late. There was no kirtan anymore. They were just eating. And I was surprised how much prasad everyone had on his plate. Then I tasted it. And it was so incredible that I continued to go to the temple every day. And then in this way I got entangled. Hare Krishna. So now we continue. Oh, I have to put this first. Kannst du das mal machen? Ja. Okay. Da. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so we continue with the Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, 7th chapter, 24th verse. Anvaya vyatirekena vivekeno shatatmana svargasthana samanyanyayir vingrishabhira asatvarai Anvaya vyatirekena vivekeno shatatmana svargasthana samanayayir vimrishadbir asatvarai
Anvaya vyatirekena satatmana svargasthana samanaya vimrishabhira asatvarai Anvaya
vyatirekena vivekeno shatatmana svargasthana samanvayayir vishisambhira satvarayir Anvaya virekena vivekena satatmana svargasthana samanvayayir Ishiradhira Satvarai Anvaya directly, Vyatirekena and indirectly, Vivekena by mature discrimination, Ushata purified, Atmana with the mind, Svarga creation, Sthana maintenance, Samamnayai and with destruction, Vimrishadvi by those making a serious analysis, Asadvarai very sober. Translation. Sober and expert persons should search for the spirit soul with minds purified through analytical study in terms of the soul's connection with and distinction from all things that undergo creation, maintenance, and destruction. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A sober person can study himself and distinguish the soul from the body by analytical study. For example, when one considers his body, his head, his hands, and so on, one can certainly understand the difference between the spirit soul and the body. No one says I head, everyone says my head. Thus there are two entities, the head and I. They are not identical, although they appear to be one conglomeration. One may argue, when we analyze the body, we find a head, hands, legs, a belly, blood, bones, urine, stool, and so on. But after everything is considered, where is the existence of the soul? A sober man, however, avails himself of this Vedic instruction. Yato va imani bhutani jayante, yena jatani jivanti, yat prayanti avisamvishanti, tad vich jigyasasva tat brahmeti. Taittiriya Upanishad 3.1.1. Thus he can understand that the head, hands, legs, and indeed the entire body have grown on the basis of the soul. If the soul is within, the body, head, hands, and legs grow, but otherwise they do not. A dead child does not grow up, for the soul is not present. If by a careful analysis of the body one still cannot find the existence of the soul, this is due to his ignorance. How can a gross man, fully engaged in materialistic activities, understand the soul, which is a small particle of a spirit, 1/10,000th the size of a tip of a hair? Such a person foolishly thinks that the material body has grown from a combination of chemicals, although he cannot find them. The Vedas inform us, however, that chemical combinations do not constitute the living force. The living force is the Atma and Paramatma, and the body grows on the basis of that living force. The fruit of a tree grows and undergoes 6 kinds of change because of the presence of the tree. If there were no tree, there could not be question of the growth and maturity of fruit. Therefore, beyond the existence of the body are the Paramatma and Atma within the body. This is the first understanding of spiritual knowledge explained in Bhagavad Gita. Dehino asmin yata dehe. The body exists because of the presence of the Supreme Lord and the Jiva, which is part of the Lord. This is further explained by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita 9.4. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagadavyaktamurtida matstani sarvabhutani na chaham te shavashtitaha. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. The Supreme Soul exists everywhere. The Vedas enjoin Sarvam Kalvadam Brahma. Everything is Brahman, or an expansion of Brahman's energies. Sutramani Gana Iva. Everything rests on the Lord, just like pearls strung together on a thread. The thread is the principal Brahman. He is the supreme cause, the supreme Lord upon whom everything rests. Mata Parataram Nanyat. Thus we must study the Atma and Paramatma, the individual soul and the super soul, upon whom the entire material cosmic manifestation rests. This is explained by the Vedic statement, Yato vai imam bhutani jayante, yena yatani jivanti. Anvaya vyattikhetena vivekeno shatatmana svargasthana samandayai vimri sadbir asatvarai. Sober and expert persons should search for the spirit soul with minds purified through analytical study in terms of the soul's connection with and distinction from all things that undergo creation, maintenance, and destruction. Om Maginati Mirandasya Gananjaya Sadakam Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Sabitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagadayam Dadati Svaparantikam. So we continue hearing from Prahlad. Now, this is part of the teachings that Prahlad gave to his Mitshula, what is that?
Classmate.
Huh?
Classmates.
Oh, classmates, yeah, classmates. And as we heard in the former verses, they were all sons of demons. But they were very fortunate to have Prahlad Maharaj as a classmate. And Prahlad, even though he was born in the family of Hiranyakashipu, he was a pure devotee from the very beginning. How come? He heard Narada Muni. Narada Muni was speaking to him. Actually, it says that he was at that time situated in the womb of his mother. So that when Hiranyakashipu went to practice austerities to get benediction from Brahma, the demigods took advantage. They conquered his palace also. And when they conquered the palace, there was a wife of Hiranyakashipu, and she was pregnant. So they thought, oh, this child will be also a demon because his father is Hiranyakashipu. So they were trying to take her away with them. And so they, as soon as he was born, they would kill him. And at that moment, Narada appeared, Narada Muni appeared. He interfered. He said, what are you doing? And they explained this to him, their intention to them. But then he said, actually, this child in the womb of this mother is a pure devotee, is a very great soul. So don't. I take care. I take care. I take her with me to my ashram, and I would instruct her. And then Prabhupada in the purport, to this when this happened, Prabhupada explained that actually under no conditions a lady should be taken away by somebody else, who not the husband or not the son. No, this is completely like against the Shastra, against the injunction of the Shastra. But then Prabhupada said, but actually Narada Muni was an exception. He was a very, very special soul. And Prabhupada said sometimes these great souls, they do things that appear to be contradictory to the Vedic instructions. But one has to be very careful to judge in this case, when they're great souls, like Narada Muni. Anyway, so he started instructing her. Just like it says in Kapila Muni, in the third canto, explains that when the child comes to the 7th month, I say, in the womb, 7 months, 7 months old, then he becomes very conscious. He kind of awakens and hears and feels what's going on around. And that's why at that time, especially the mother should be very conscious about it. She should let the child hear the mantras and singing and all this, the glorification of the Lord. Anyway, so Prahlad Maharaj became highly enlightened within the womb of his mother. And then after a while, she was delivered again when Hiranyakashipu came back from his austerities. So actually he had performed all these austerities to become immortal. When finally Brahma appeared before him, he asked him to give him eternal life. But because he thought that Brahma was actually eternal, he didn't understand properly who Brahma was. And then as Brahma told him, I cannot give you eternal life. I'm not eternal either. And then he thought this was a trick. And then he started formulating his request in different ways. Until so Brahma gave him all kinds of benedictions. He couldn't be killed during the day, not during the night. So he gave him the benediction to. Anyway, so yeah, and then not by an animal, not by a human, not outside nor inside. Many more benedictions he gave him. And then Hiranyakashipu thought, now I tricked Brahma, and I have eternal life. Nobody can kill me practically. Anyway, so then when he finished his tapasya and the wife went back to her husband, Hiranyakashipu, it says in the Bhagavatam that she had forgotten. Actually, what she was just thinking all the time, even though being with Narada Muni, she was just thinking of her husband and wanted to go back to her husband, like that. And so when she went back, it says that she had actually forgotten the instructions of Narada Muni. But Prahlad Maharaj was completely conscious. From the very beginning, he's completely Krishna conscious. And so when Hiranyakashipu made arrangements to have him educated, he gave him 2 teachers who were not teaching spiritual life, but they're actually teaching him the political science, how to deal with enemies, how to do this and that, diplomatic and all this. Yeah. And it says in the Bhagavatam that from the very beginning, Prahlad didn't like this, because he couldn't accept anybody as enemy or friend like this. He didn't make this distinction. And for him, all the souls were practically parts of God, and he dealt with them accordingly. Anyway, so and Prahlad, Prahlad was a pure devotee. That means he was compassionate. There's certain qualities that are given in the Shastra about pure souls, like Tägliche, Karunika, Surita, Adattachatrava, Shantim, Sarava, Sadhubhushana. It says in the Tägliche means that he's tolerant, can tolerate all kinds of difficulties and so many controversies. I predict, what is that? Widersprüche, what is that in English? Yeah, contradiction. Yeah. And to Tägliche Karuna, he was merciful. And Suridam Sarva Bhutanam, he was he saw everyone as a family, part of the family. He was very merciful to all living entities without distinction. I heard a story once. I think Hari Saudi also mentioned that somewhere, or somebody else. Anyway, so the Hari Saudi was preparing Prabhupada in Mayapur. The Prabhupada, from the very beginning, Prabhupada had a room, even though the building was half finished. This was the first Ratha Yatra. What am I saying? Mayapur, no, or the second, I don't know. But that's when we went to India in 74. The first time we went to take part from Germany in the Mayapur festival, Gopurnima. And so I remember, the downstairs everything was finished, and the third floor and fourth floor. I mean, there was a construction question, Baustelle. What is that? Construction. Yeah. Anyway, so Prabhupada was, and also during that festival, I think practically everyone was sick. Everyone was diarrhea. And so because we were sleeping amongst the construction, we were sleeping in that place. There was nothing else. And so when Prabhupada heard that we were all sick, he came up to see the devotees. I remember there was all our leaders also were laying there together in the Baustelle, in the construction camp. And actually Prabhupada spoke very heavy when he saw us all. And he said that actually this is all because you're not active. You have to be active. Anyway, so at that time, Hari Saudi was Prabhupada's servant. And so it says that at night he was preparing the mosquito net for Prabhupada. And Prabhupada was watching him, sitting there waiting to have it finished. And then all of a sudden, Hari Saudi discovered there was a mosquito still under there. So he opened again, and he went after the mosquito. Finally, he caught it. He went opened the door and said, Hare Krishna, to liberate the mosquito. And Prabhupada, watching him, he said, oh, before you would have just killed it without any consideration. Now you have become purified. Anyway, so coming back to the verse in the Bhagavatam, Tägliche Karuna Sudiram Sarvadehinam, I'm a friend of all living entities. Tägliche Karuna Sudiram Sarvadehinam. It means that it doesn't accept any difference between enemy and friend. Actually, Ajata Shatru was also a name of Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira. He actually, even though he had this attitude, he was also known for his being extremely honest. Ajata Shatru. Then Sadhava. Sadhava means that a sadhu doesn't do anything which is not confirmed or based in Shastra. And also, he's also peaceful. And then it's sadhu bhushana. Bhushana actually means ornament. I say ornament? Yeah, Schmuckstück. Schmuckstück. Sadhu bhushana. These are the ornaments, the Schmuckstücke of a sadhu, it says. And all these, then it says all these qualities are perfect. He developed these perfect qualities. Anyway, so Prahlad Maharaj was very, very merciful. So that's why he wanted to compart Krishna consciousness with the rest of the boys. And even though they were all demons, come from demonic families, by his influence they all became devotees. In the long run, you see how they had changed. And that's why Prahlad Maharaj is actually preaching to them very confidentially. You don't learn these things in any school, university, like what we're hearing here. The difference between, actually about self-realization, that we are who we really are. And first, the self-realization starts, in the first instruction, Dehino asmin yata dehi komaram yati hantara prapti dira tata muhyate. And then, first self-realization, to know who you are, and then more confidential knowledge, God realization, and about our eternal relations with God. And I just heard a class, a Chaitanya class, Prabhupada, where Prabhupada says, if you want to learn this, you have to get the knowledge from India. And no other part of the world, this knowledge is accessible, was revealed. And then Srila Prabhupada starts glorifying India. Actually, it says, there's a verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita which says, Bharata Bhumite Haidama Janma Jara, Janma Sakara, Kali, no. Para Upakara. This is an instruction that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave. No, that means that when you bought in Bharata Varsha, I heard that the government in India wants to actually change the name from India to Bharata, or Bharata Varsha. And when you born in India, it says you should make your life perfect, and you should also help others. You should be merciful. To go to the rest of the world. Actually, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, and help people to get to know all this. Yeah, and we are somehow, by the mercy of God, the mercy of Krishna, we have been connected to a person who actually put this into practice, follow this instruction in the form of Srila Prabhupada. When Prabhupada came to the West, even his god brothers were doubting. He went to the West, to Mlechalandia, Mlechaland, and when Prabhupada started initiating devotees, wow, they couldn't believe it. And then he even gave sannyas to certain devotees, his devotees. And they were criticizing Prabhupada for that. Actually, I mentioned the other day that in India, they had this concept that sannyasi should never cross oceans. Should never cross oceans. But actually, this is completely contradictory to the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Anyway, so Prahlad Maharaj, speaking the basics, primero the basics here. Like Krishna also in the Bhagavad Gita, the basics. What is the difference between the soul and the body? So at least theoretically we should understand. And Prabhupada mentioned this, practically almost in every class. Prabhupada emphasizes this point, that we're not the body. Because this is everything we do is based on this. As devotee, everything is based on this. Actually, the whole devotional service and all that does not make any sense without this understanding. That's I remember here in Köln, some how you say, journalist. What is that in English? Journalist? No, journalist came here to make a report about Hare Krishna. He was a young man. He was very nice. And we have experience. We had always experience in Germany. They would send a reporter to our temple, and they were very nice. And then when they gave the material all the material that collected to the newspaper, it was completely ridiculous, criticizing us and all that. So that this was actually Anyways, so then one came and he liked it actually. He liked it. Wow, this atmosphere is so nice. And then actually, when he gave back this report, speaking how nice it had been and so peaceful and all that. Then in the newspaper it mentioned that, and they completely, how you say this in English? They have a complex, or ego complex, They feel low, and like that. And this was actually criticized in the newspaper. They went on and on about this, how we are completely controlled like that. But the reporter himself actually liked it. He liked the prasad, everything. Anyway, so the preaching, is our mission. We should not just only be interested in our own purification, our well-being, but Prabhupada actually wanted, just like Prabhupada said, like the son grows up, and sooner or later the father expects the son to take over the business, continue the business, take on responsibilities. And the same way, Prabhupada was also expecting for us to contribute with something substantial to his mission. And the mission that Prabhupada brought is preaching. Preaching. Especially Prabhupada wanted us all to participate in the book distribution, in the production of books, translating books, presenting the books, distributing the books everywhere, explaining the books like that. So this was actually Prabhupada's desire. And it says actually that when the Acharya leaves, actually, he's not really leaving, he's not really dying, but he continues living in his instructions, in his Vani. And we see this nowadays. And people, when we distribute Srila Prabhupada's books or present the books to people outside, actually it's Prabhupada preaching to them. Yeah. Just like in the street, it's more like kind of impersonal or very formal, everything. But then they go back, take the book home. They have their intimate place. Normally they sit on the sofa or they lie on the bed to relax. And in this atmosphere, completely unprotected, so to say, Prabhupada starts speaking to them. They read Prabhupada's books. That's why Prabhupada emphasized so much the distribution of his books. And this is where he continues to be present everywhere. So that's why I remember when we started the marathons, there's actually the Christmas marathon, we used to call it. But then the name was changed to Prabhupada Marathon. And I heard that when the marathon started in Los Angeles, in California, the devotees discovered, wow, this is really special. This month is very special for book distribution. Because people are more open, they're more charitable. It's a special atmosphere. And when they started coming, and Prabhupada was there, and they read the results of Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada was surprised. And he was very surprised to see how actually the books were going out. And of course, when the books distribution was augmenting, how is it in English? It's in Spanish. Increasing. Prabhupada started saying, yes, okay, thank you very much. Now double it. They doubled it, again Prabhupada said, double it. And the devotees were so inspired, so enthusiastic, that it said they started distributing books in the Los Angeles airport. And somehow they couldn't kick them out from the airport, because they had a law, kind of, the religions are kind of special liberty or something like that. And then they started putting advertisements, or I think also by television in the airport, that listen, these young people who are presenting themselves as part of the airport, they're actually not part of the airport. Because normally when people go to the airport, they're pretty lost, especially when they start flying. So they're confused, they're looking, and so devotees went over to them and appeared like guides. Yes, what do you wanted? Where are you going to go, Baba? And by the way, I have a book for you here also. So the airport administration became very, alarmed by this. I remember I went a lot of times to Miami, and normally when the devotees went still to the airport in Miami, they had reduced this freedom, and they had given them like 2 or 3 square meters only, where they could stay. And I remember the devotees, when they were distributing books in Miami, they went like this, the people. Because they couldn't get out of the 3 meters. They were not allowed. Anyway, and also what happened also in the beginning, in Los Angeles, people were surprised to see how enthusiastic these devotees were. And a lot of businessmen started coming and observing them, and then they started offering them jobs, in their own company.
I don't know.
Yeah?
New York.
In New York? Yeah. Yeah, because I see them so enthusiastic about selling products. I wanted them to sell their products. Anyway, so this is the instruction that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us. We should make our own life perfect. I mean, take advantage, full advantage of this mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and also make others happy. This is actually a very, very important point. Actually, Prabhupada was charitable, but his charity was deeper. How you say deeper? Because Prabhupada understood that the whole problem of our material existence is a spiritual problem. It's a spiritual problem. Unless the spiritual problem, our turning away from God, is solved, there will be no solution to all the problems that we experience in the material world. So in the beginning, Srila Prabhupada would invite young people to his place in New York. Was it still there now? It's a property now, right? I don't know. I think they're
renting. I don't know.
Yeah, I just heard somebody sent me a notice. The burial place, they took over. There was an auction, and they got this place. Yeah. This was the first temple in London. We used to go there every year for Ratha Yatra. We all went to the Ratha Yatra in London. Where Prabhupada would come. One time Prabhupada didn't come. I remember because at that time I was supposed to be given Gayatri Mantra, Prabhupada, and Prabhupada didn't come. So Gurudas gave us the Gayatri Mantra. He didn't give it to us. He gave a recording, right? A disc. Right? We would hear it, and I still remember that because while we were hearing the mantra, Gurudas was falling asleep. I still remember that. Yeah. So this is Prabhupada's mission, and like I mentioned, we should contribute something substantial to Prabhupada's mission. Not just be interested in our own benefits, but actually contribute to the distribution of mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. And everyone who has gone out on book distribution knows that there's some very special Shakti there when you go out. Actually, when we were traveling, at night when the day was finished, some of us didn't want to stop, because we were saying this is the super distribution ecstasy that one experiences at the end of the day. Yeah, so it's nice to see that in Germany the marathon is going nicely. In other places, well, I know places where there's not so much participation, and it's very encouraging, very nice to see that here in Germany, actually they're really going out and distributing the books, not just one book or two books, but actually many more. And I can just imagine reading the final result of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada very pleased, and that's how you were able to please Srila Prabhupada. I opened a temple once here in southern Germany, in München, actually all alone, actually. And then we got a place, and then actually it was a storefront. It had no rooms, and just there was a toilet and a sink, and only one room. So when the new devotees started coming, I put up cloth, I say cloth to divide the room like that. And the first book we got, we received, was the Ishopanishad. We had no books. We only had invitation cards. And Zurück zur Gottheit, a few leaves, kind of, what is that? Yeah. Wie sagt man das denn? Zusammengeheftet. Yeah, this was. Anyway, so then we got the Ishopanishad. I remember I put the Ishopanishad on the window. We had a window, it was a shop. And I put the Ishopanishad in the middle, like that, hang it there. And then I made, how you say, strats, how you say? Bender, no? Explaining, this is Sanskrit, this is a translation, this is that, this is that. And I noticed at that time, actually, that this temple was not there were many businesses out there. And at midday, all these people would go out, they had their midday break. And many of these people started stopping and looking at the Ishopanishad. Yeah? And anyway, so then Hans Ruder came. He was at that time, there was no GBC yet. And so he was the temple president in Hamburg. And he came with a group of devotees to travel. And they were distributing Ishopanishad. And then we got the second temple, and he came actually at that time with a group of devotees. And Hans Ruder became so emotional when he saw our temple. I found out later, he wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada that he felt very low, I say, that by seeing the devotees, the German devotees, taking it so serious, especially this temple. He wrote a letter to Prabhupada. And and the answer to this letter is actually in the letters, in the letter book. And Prabhupada encouraged him there. Actually, he wanted to resign because he felt so lowly. What is that? So insignificant. Yeah. And then so Prabhupada, so Hans Ruder told me, now you have to open the temple, write to Srila Prabhupada. And then I got a letter from Prabhupada, where Prabhupada was saying, now you have become an important devotee in our movement, you're president. Now you have to be exemplary. You have to be with everyone in Mangal Arti. You have to be in the classes or give classes like that. Go out on Harinam. There was no such organized book distribution still yet. Anyway, and so, anyway, that's what Prabhupada told me. You have to be an example. You have to be exemplary. Anyway, so, I don't know how I went there now. Anyway, so, Prabhupada was very, very pleased when he heard about the preaching. Actually we had at that time, in the beginning years, we had Bhakti programs, organized Bhakti programs. And there was a newsletter, Bhakti newsletter, international newsletter. And you had to send the result to that newsletter. We made this month, we made 4 devotees, 3 people stayed overnight at the weekend. And all this. And I remember at one point, the temple in Santiago in Chile had made the most devotees. Anyway, so this Bhakti program was very much organized. There was Tulasi. Tulasi came from Los Angeles to London, and he started the Bhakti program there. And I remember I was also Bhakti leader at one point. So he gave a seminar in London to study, to become more qualified to run the Bhakti program like that. Yeah. Anyway, then Danavir, after Tulsi, Danavir became the Bhakti leader. He wrote a book about the Bhakti program and all that. Anyway, so at that time, then I remember we moved to, in the end, Harikesh came to Germany. and he wanted to have something. No, Hans Duda actually first. Hans Duda, he wanted to have something big because he thought that in London and different places they had something big, and he also wanted something big. So we went to Schloss Rettershof, and at that time, close to Frankfurt, and there was a big castle. It was under wie sagt man, Museum, Kulturschutz oder irgendwie, ich weiß nicht, wie das in Deutschland nennt. So, und in Schloss Rettershof. And the main thing that was going on in Schloss Rettershof was Sankirtan. All the devotees went out all week. They came Saturday night. We had a heavy metal kirtan, and then next morning the class, and then after the feast, after they took prasad and all this, they washed their clothes, they were going out again. And there was only the Bhakti program in the temple, in the Schloss Rettershof, the cook, the pujari, and nothing else. And the Bhaktas, anyway, yeah. And these Bhakti programs were very organized. Yeah, like I remember there was only 2 programs we thought. There was only book distribution and devotee making. This was our emphasis. Yeah. And sometimes the pujaris didn't like the atmosphere very much because so little attention was given to them. There was Astarata here. Have you ever heard about Astarata? Yeah. I heard this was actually anyone I want to speak about it in public. Hare Krishna. Anyway, so this Prahlad Maharaj is an example of a compassionate preacher, accepting all kinds of difficulties. But because he was protected by Krishna, even though Hiranyakashipu tried to kill him in so many ways, destroy him in so many ways, but Krishna protected him. It's mentioned in the 7th canto that actually he was even thrown in a pot of cooking ghee. How do you say that? Hot ghee. And somehow Krishna protected him. Poison was put in his food. Because he was offering his food. So Krishna protected him in so many ways. Because he had become very, very dear to Krishna. Preaching in utmost difficult conditions. And that's actually what it means also. Sooner or later we have to be, tolerating all kinds of controversies, all kinds of difficulties. As to make us strong. Anyway, any question? I went off a little bit here, but anyway, yeah.
There's different opinions between devotees about all souls from spiritual world.
Sorry?
All souls, like fallen from spiritual world. But another devotee says we never was in spiritual world.
So what?
How to understand this contradiction?
Well, there's different. There was one thing that in the beginning, I remember, different points were presented, like somebody has fallen off the ship, and the people up there want to help, but there's others who say, "Oh, wait a minute, how did he fall down?" And the others want to throw him a, how do you say, salvavidas in Spanish? I don't know how they say in English. Diesen Ring, wie sagt man den Zustand? Ein Rettungsring, yeah. Yeah. So it's more important to help than to speculate or find out how the person has fallen. Of course, nowadays there's more information due to the advancement of the devotees. Now, for example, it says that actually this material existence is actually not a reality. It's actually like a dream, I think. A dream that we're passing. No, actually we never fell. We're just dreaming. And now we have to reawaken from that dream to continue with our relationship with Krishna. What do you say?
I don't say.
There's many different
Many different things.
yeah, many different things. Will you say something in this regard? Yeah, this is a point of discussion that never ends. No, even the GBC, published a book about it, and it was actually in the beginning it was very, devotees were very respectful, but then after a while they started arguing about the book and this and that, and didn't take it very serious anymore. Yeah. So, any more comments? What's the Vasan?
For me, it's like not the question, where did I come from? Because the thing is, I'm here now, and I know that I don't belong to this world. I understood it very well, that there's so much suffering, and I have to go back to Krishna. That's
Yes.
the only goal.
Where did you get this from?
I don't know. From Pure Prabhupada for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, he said that this is
Who?
not a word for gentlemen.
Who said?
Prabhupada said that this is not a word for gentlemen.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that I take to my heart. I accepted this, and I know that I don't have to be here.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think back to home, back to Godhead.
Sorry?
Means they are from spiritual world.
Yeah.
This is clear for me.
Okay, so let's finish. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your patience. Srila Prabhupada ki. Huh? Huh?